morning, everybody. Hello, all my spiritual biz success people in here and spiritual authors. So this is the free training that I've been announcing this week that I'm doing for you guys, talking about how to monetize your book. Because being able to monetize your book is something that I don't think anyone really talks about. Everyone's like, I'm going to publish my book, I want to publish my book, but no one actually talks about how do you make money from it, which is a big thing. And not only how do you make money from it, but how do you actually get your message out there in a big way? Because I'm sure a lot of you out there who have books might have maybe just sold 50 copies, 60 copies. You're trying to figure out, like, how do I get the message that's in my book out into the world and into the right hands? And it's a big question. And even if you don't have a book yet, but you're thinking about writing a book, that whole thinking about it and then wondering, like, what do I do with it once the book is written? So that's, excuse me, that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to be here a while so you guys can get a cup of coffee and join me in this process. So what we're talking about, like I mentioned, is we're talking about how do you monetize your book. So let's talk about an analogy. So most people write a book. So like, here's mine, right? So you write a book, and then what do you do with it? What do you do with the book? We ask our family, we ask our friends, we say, hey, can you buy the book? Can you write a review for the book? And it just kind of floats out there. And there's probably an amazing message in your book. I'm sure there is, because you're a spiritual entrepreneur, you're a healer, you're a light worker. So you've written the book, whether it's sharing your story or use channeled information, whatever that is, it's information that needs to get out into the right hands. And so what happens is we write our books, and if you don't have things in place for the process of your book, it doesn't go anywhere. And those of you who have published know exactly what I'm talking about. Even if you have a traditional publisher, even those who have published through a traditional publisher, definitely there's still that problem, because traditional publishers don't help you market. Again, no one talks to you about how do you build a book. If you go to the Balboa Press site, which is the Hay House publishing site, and you look at all the little packages they have and stuff, nowhere in there are they talking about how to build the book. They leave all the marketing and stuff up to you, and you're paying them all of this money to publish your book so you could feel like you were published through Hay House, which it's not. And even when you do publish through them, they don't help you with any of that. I actually personally know some people that got published that way, and then nothing happened. It was not a good experience. And it's because no one talks to you about how to monetize the book. So they take your money from a publishing standpoint, but then you're left holding the bag trying to figure out what to do with it. So the book itself, I'm going to use the analogy of a book itself as a wheel. Okay, so we're going to talk about, it's a funny analogy, but I used to do a bunch of triathlons. And so if any of you have ever seen a triathlon cycling bike or anything like that, the fast bikes, the really expensive fast bikes, the front wheel of the bike is solid. And they're solid because they're more aerodynamic. And if you look at a bike that's not that fast, there's just a few spokes, right? And the wind comes through, and they're just not as fast. So a lot of people, what they end up doing is they write their book, but the book is the only thing they have. There's like not even a wheel in place for it to get momentum, right? So we're going to use the bike analogy throughout this. You're going to hear me talking about this. So that wheel, when you have a lot of spokes on it, it becomes solid, or maybe it is solid. It goes really fast. But when someone, all they do is publish a book, and they're like, I wrote a book, and that's an amazing accomplishment of writing a book. But if you only wrote the book, there's no wheel. There's no way to monetize it. You have a book, and you're trying to figure out what to do. And I think that's where most spiritual authors get really stuck, because there's no one to help you with marketing. If you self-publish, you're still figuring it out yourself, and that's really tough. And so you did it the less expensive way, but there's no way to figure it out. And even if you worked with an actual publisher, it's the same situation. They're not helping you at all with marketing. So the first tip, I'm going to give you 6 tips while we're here today. Tips and actually things to do. So it's more than just like a tip. There's a few things in here where you can actually go do something that's going to help you. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is that you need to have a platform for your book. So a platform, what does that mean? So that's what I teach in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, is you're building your platform for your company. So the platform looks like all the pieces of your company that you need to create to basically to call yourself a business. Because there's a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs out there that are really entrepreneurs because they don't actually have a business. So like what I teach in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp is the creation of that platform so that people can look at you and say, oh, you have a business. And part of that is creating a social media following. Part of that is making sure you have a course that truly serves on this planet. Part of that is automating. I talk about making money while you meditate. So you need a platform. Some of you may have a version of a platform already. That's fantastic. But you need a solid platform. So in using the bike analogy, the wheel analogy, your platform is the rim of a tire, of a cycling tire, okay? So think about that. The platform itself is the rim, because then you can roll along, right? If you have the rim of a bike, if you just had a wheel and there was no spokes, you could still, if you push it, get it to roll. That's what your platform is. That's the base though, right? If you don't have the rim of a wheel, you're not going anywhere. You can have all sorts of spokes, but no rim, you're not going anywhere. So using the analogy of a cycling wheel, for those of you that are hopping in, that's what we're talking about, and using that analogy for your business. So the first tip that you need for being able to monetize your book is to have a business, have a platform. And the platform, again, is the rim of that wheel. You need that rim to be able to create the momentum that you need. So now, when you have that rim, you can add spokes to it. Now, your book is one of the spokes. It's only one of the spokes, and that's the mistake that people make, is they're like, I got a book, I published a book, but there's no platform, which means there's no rim to the wheel and there's no other spokes. Because if you only have one spoke, the one book, even if you have 10 books, it's still just tiny little spokes. It's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get momentum. So when I launched my book, so here's my book. Yes, I'll do some promo. So Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? You can see right here, I got international bestseller, kind of. I actually got international bestseller in 3 countries in a day. And I was able to do that because I had my platform in place. I have my following. And not only did I get international bestseller, but this book made me $10,000 in a week. And I'll talk to you more about how that happened, because I'm going to give you some more tips on how you can do that. So the book, again, is just one spoke in the process. So you need many spokes on your rim. You have to have a lot of spokes so you can get the speed of those triathlon bikes that have the solid front wheel. So some of the other spokes, again, like I mentioned, it's having your social media following, it's having your course in place, it's having some automation in place, it's knowing how to enroll your clients, it's that soul connection. All of that stuff is what builds your platform, and that's exactly what I teach you to build in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. So now we know that you need you need a platform, that's the rim of the wheel, and you need multiple spokes. So you need to have a platform, and to have the platform, again, it's what we teach in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. You may be doing it on your own, but you need a platform. And you need a platform, not only is a platform like the business, but the platform is also your tribe, right? So you need your tribe coming in. So you need to have your platform. And then the second thing so now you have your platform, right? And what does that platform do that helps you build your tribe? That's how you find clients, right? So what I teach in bootcamp, Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, is how do you find clients? How do you actually find clients and enroll them? So that's part of your platform. So that piece of that platform, though, you also need to have, what's your purpose for it? It's not just to make money, right? And we all know that. Spiritual entrepreneurs, we all have a message. So the second piece, the second tip, is making sure that you have a message for humanity and that it's in your book. A lot of times people write their books and they just tell their story and they miss putting in the message for humanity. So at the end of this training, I'm going to give you an opportunity to book a call with my team. And there's an application because we have to see if we're a fit. And the first question I ask is, what's your message for humanity? You have to be really clear on what that message is, and that message needs to be in your book. Because if you just write a book for fun, then you're not really serving them. You're missing the point to serve your tribe. So the book has to have a message for humanity in it. So my message for humanity in this particular book is that you need to be stepping out with your gift, getting over the fears, and actually create a business with your gift so that you can serve humanity. So that is my message in here. This message is specific because actually the title of it is, Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? So it's really clear. And then it says that the 6 shifts to a 6-figure spiritual business. So this whole book is about how do you, like, getting your mind around that your gifts were given to you from source, and that you should be creating a spiritual business with it. And if you're not, I don't know what the heck you're doing. So that's my message to humanity in this book. And because my message to humanity is super clear in this book, that's how I got a client out of this book, or clients out of this book. But it made me $10,000 in a week because my message was very clear. And I'm going to talk to you more about the steps about that you need to have in your book so that you can do something similar. Okay, so right now we know you must have a platform, and that you must have a message for humanity. And that message, if you've written your book and you weren't clear on your message for humanity, that's okay. You can go back and make some adjustments, but you really need to have your platform in place and that message for humanity clear. Now, let's just say you've launched your book. You've already published it. A lot of you I know have published your book already. And you've in that space of having it, of being stuck. You're like, oh my God, I published my book and I sold 50 copies and it didn't really go anywhere. I didn't get best-selling status. Like you're just like, damn. Well, so the good news is tip number 3 is that not all is lost, that you can actually relaunch your book. So you can republish it and you can relaunch it. So know that not all is lost. So listen to these tips and what I've got for you going in here, and you'll start to get the wheels turning, and knowing that maybe, you know, I have several clients right now in boot camp that have many books, but they didn't go anywhere. So what we're doing is that we're building their platform, we're getting their business in place, and then from knowing that the business is in place and the platform's there, then they're going to republish their books with Spiritual Biz Publishing. I'll talk about that in a second too. And then we're going to relaunch them. And so that relaunch is a possibility. So knowing that you can do that, like don't freak yourself out and be like, oh, I've wasted it. Like, no, if you've written a book, you can still republish and relaunch. So knowing that these tips that I'm giving you, you can actually still do them even if you have a book. Now, if you don't have a book yet, but you're thinking about it or you're writing one, even better. Truly even better, because now you have the opportunity to do it right. You have the opportunity to build the platform, and from the platform being able to connect with your tribe, and then from connecting with your tribe being able to then to have your message for humanity clear. That's actually that's one of the biggest things we do in boot camp. It's in Spiritual Biz Boot Camp, is be able to get people super clear on their message for humanity and who they're healing. So now you'll have a platform, you will have your message for humanity, and you'll be able to actually publish your first book the right way. I'm going to call it the right way because you're going to have a way to monetize it. So, okay, I've got notes. So I want to make sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. So, and don't forget, when you're building your tribe, when I'm talking about having a platform, it's about building your tribe. And building your tribe is that soul connection with your clients. And that soul connection has to come through in your book. I've had people tell me that I'm speaking to their soul. And it's like, yes, I am, because I have done such work internally, but I've also done a lot of work in knowing who my ideal client is and how I'm serving them. And that's part of that message that we teach in boot camp, because you have to know that, and that has to show up in your book. Because if you're just writing your book for you, and maybe you do that, maybe you do some books that are just for you, but if you're doing a book just for you to just get something off your chest, you probably aren't going to monetize it. So making sure that when you're getting that book ready, that you're having that message for humanity, because that's how you're going to be able to serve. So, and of course I mentioned the tribe, building that tribe with your platform. When you build that tribe, you know that message, you're actually connecting with souls that have known you before. I firmly believe the people that you call in as clients, the people who come in and that buy your book, those people are the people that you've known in a different lifetime, different dimension, different density, however you want to look at it. You've known them before and they're seeking you out. And so when they're seeking you out, you have to be able to speak to them so that they can hear you. They're looking for you. You guys are trying to find each other in this lifetime to figure out what you're supposed to be doing together. What's the purpose for you to rejoin? And so that's another thing that your book should do. So again, I teach you in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp how to connect with them, and then that has to translate into your book so that the souls that are looking for you then find your book and they connect with you. And they're like, oh my God, I've been looking for you. How do you know what I feel? How do you know what I think? That's amazing. Okay, so far we've covered the first couple of tips here. Tip number 1 is that you must have a platform, which is exactly what I teach in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. Tip number 2 is you have to have a message for humanity. That message for humanity has to be in your book. And then knowing that if you haven't done that yet so far, and you've published a book without having all of this in place, that's okay. You can actually republish and relaunch your book. So that's okay once you get your platform in place and all of that fun stuff. So let's see. And then, here's the thing too. If you've published your book already and you don't have that in place, I know it's a little disheartening, right? Because you put all this time and effort into creating this book. You've birthed something. This is your baby, right? You've birthed a baby that's a book, that's your idea. It's your creative birthing. And then you put it out there, and it's if you don't have the platform and the tribe in place, it's difficult to get people to buy the book. You've been asking friends and family to purchase the book, and you're trying to figure it out. And this is the part that infuriates me the most. And I say that the biggest crime in publishing is that no one teaches you how to make money from your book. So let's just say, even if you self-publish, you have to pay an editor to help you and someone to help format and all of that stuff. You've spent probably at least $2,500 on your book. And then you put it up on Amazon and the whole rig and Kindle and everything else. And then you're trying to make money back. You're trying to make that money back. And most people don't ever make that money back on their book. Because see, books in themselves, an actual book, is not exactly profitable, but I'm going to talk to you about how to turn it into a monetization. But the book itself, it's going to take some time for, if you were looking at just book sales to publishing the book, it's going to take you some time to earn that money back. Because what do you earn, like $2 or $3 a book, right? That's it. So let's just say you spent $2,500 on creating your book and editing and publishing and the whole 9 yards. At a minimum, I think that would be a minimum price that someone would do, unless you did everything yourself and didn't edit your book, which I would not recommend. You need to have a professional editor look at your books. But you'd have to sell 1,200 copies just to make your money back to break even. That's like the craziest thing on the planet. I truly believe that is the biggest crime in publishing, is that they say, here's your book, great, you're an author, now go sell it. Go help create a marketing plan. Even the big publishers don't help you with that. I mean, I have a friend that got picked up by Hay House, and she was super excited. And she was like, I'm published by Hay House. And it was this whole whirlwind. And she did book signings, and they did like talks, and they did a beautiful photo shoot, and it was fantastic. And she's like, oh my God, that was a horrible experience, because they never showed her how to make money from her book. She was actually out of pocket at the end of the day. And she was like, what happened? It is truly one of the biggest crimes in publishing. So we're going to talk a little bit right now about how to fix that. But I'm going to see if anyone has any questions before we go into the next tip, which is really going to be talking about monetizing your book. So I'm just going to check over here for any questions. Hey, Summer, how's it going? Stacy, Jennifer, Devin, how's it going, guys? If you have questions, you can put them in. Hey, Christine Mapes, how are you? Bootcamp graduate. All right, and let's see, Bridget People, also bootcamp graduate. How you guys doing? Ilan found my book. This was awesome. Ilan is in bootcamp right now. He found my book, he read it, and he enrolled in my program. And now he's creating his own spiritual business, and he will be doing the same thing when he writes his book, which is pretty awesome. So Summer, yes, what you seek is seeking you. Absolutely. Hey, Diana, how are you doing? All right, guys, so now we're going to move right in. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in. Okay, so now we're going to talk about actually the monetization part. How are you going to monetize your book? So I want you to think of your book as what I call an irresistible offer. This is getting into some marketing terms. Here's some technical stuff. You're building a business. If you have a book, you need to have a business. That's the platform we were just talking about. So you need to think of your book as what I would call an irresistible offer, or kind of a tripwire. So let's talk about what those words mean. So an irresistible offer is usually something you give away for free. And so you're not giving your book away for free, but what you're going to do is you're going to give them more than they expect in the book, because you want them to get value, right? The whole point of the book is for them to change their lives. And if they're reading it and going, oh, that was pretty cool, okay, then what, right? So you need to think of your book as a way to put out your irresistible offer. So here's one thing that happens. Okay, so I talk about no one helps you with your marketing of your book. And most books, even if you've sold 50, 100, 200, 500 copies, however many copies you sold, do you know who bought your book? There's no way to know. They go onto Amazon, they buy it. There's no way to know who bought your book. This is a huge gap, like a misstep in the whole marketing process of your book. So someone buys your book and like you make $2 or $3 and that's it. That's like the end of the relationship. To me, that's not serving, because they may or may not get to the end of the book. They may, I don't know, who knows what happens. They read the book, they're like, that was great. But then if there's no way for them to implement what you've taught them in the book, how does it really serve them? So in my book, Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? I decided to use my book as a place to put my lead magnets, essentially. So in my book, at the end of each chapter, so if you guys buy the book, you will have this opportunity to see how I did this and actually to learn a whole bunch of stuff, because at the end of each chapter, I'm trying to find my page here. At the end of each chapter, I give a way for you to actually get more information. And I totally cannot find my page at the moment, so hold on. Bear with me 1 second, because I should have this right in front of me. All right, so so I have this little thing. So for each chapter, you're not going to be able to see it, but so when you guys buy the book, Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? You buy it on Amazon. At the end of each chapter, there's a way for you to get more information. So whatever I talked about in the chapter, so from my book, you can actually get 6 training videos for free. And so what does that do for you as an author? First, actually, let me reframe that. What does that do for you so let's just say you pick up my book and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to get this free gift, right? So I'm interested. So as my clients, you guys get a ton of information. I've created 6 videos off of this book that give you additional training so you get more information so that you can start your business and create abundance faster. Who does that in a book? People don't. They write a book and then you got to go figure it out. So I've actually given you more than just a book. So when you go buy the book, you're able to sign up for 6 training videos, which is pretty awesome because I give you some really cool stuff to do. So you're looking at so in your book, you would do the same kind of ideas, which means you're creating like an irresistible offer or a tripwire kind of type thing, but really it's an irresistible offer because you're giving them something free if they buy your book. So if you buy my book and you go in at the end of each chapter, I'm talking about a specific thing that the chapter was about, and I give you additional training. So when you pick up my book, there are 6 free training videos that you can get. So you have to think of your book as a marketing tool, not just as a book. And even if you're writing about spiritual stuff and you're writing about your story, if you go back to tip number 2 that says you must have a message for humanity, then you're able to teach them something, and you can do the same concept. It's the same idea. So you have to be able to give them more. And it was really funny to me. This is like seriously a crack up. So, people give you reviews on your Amazon thing, blah, blah, blah. And I have a bad review. And this person was really annoyed that like I had the option for them to sign up for more in my book and that I talked about my program. And it's like, and I just laughed. I didn't even respond. But it's like, of course I talked about my program. I would be a fool. And I think anyone who creates a book who doesn't have a way to get clients and really serve them out of it is being ignorant, and they're not serving. So I had to laugh at this person because they was like, oh, she talks about her program and she wants you to sign up for something. Like, yeah, because I'm giving you more information. Why wouldn't I? I'd be like selfish by having all this additional information that I didn't give you, and I'm giving it to them for free. It's crazy. So you need to think of the same thing. How are you going to serve your clients better? How are you going to serve your clients more? A book is fine. But if the book doesn't do anything beyond just being read, it might as well be fiction. And you guys aren't writing fiction. Well, some of you might be writing fiction. I have some clients who write really awesome spiritual fiction, but it still has a message for humanity. That's the key. The message for humanity can transform their life. You write the book, but that in the book, you put the way for them to connect with you. You put the way to give them more information. That is how you begin to monetize your book. That's how you begin to build your list. Because what's really cool is that when you do that, they get on your email list. So when you guys pick up my book and you go through it and you read and you can see where you can get the free videos, to do that, you have to sign up, which is a beautiful energy exchange. Energy exchange of your email address for 6 free training videos. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good energy exchange. My goal is to always give more than I receive. I do that in boot camp. We do that everywhere in the company. If we give more than we receive, you're always doing good. And you guys should be thinking the same way with your clients. You should be giving more than you're receiving. So I gave way more in my book than I received. Way more. So I created the opportunity for them to get to know me even more, and there's 6 free training videos. So when you guys pick it up, you'll see the same thing, and that's what you should be doing in your book too. So then you're building your tribe. You're capturing their emails, so then you know who bought your book. Now, will everybody sign up for your free offering? No. They may buy it and never even read it. Who knows? But giving them the opportunity to sign up for more is you serving at a higher level. And as you're serving at a higher level, your clients love you more. You're doing an awesome energy exchange because you're giving them more than they're receiving. And that's the key to it. So then they're on your email list. So now that they're on your email list from buying your book, then you can talk to them about your programs. Now, your program, that takes you back to the platform, to tip number 1 that I gave you at the very beginning of this video. Tip number 1 is you have to have a platform. You have to have a business. If you just want to write books, and okay, that's good, but you're probably not going to monetize them. There's a lot of starving authors out there, and it's unnecessary because you guys all have a message. Even if it's a fiction book, there's a message in there for humanity. If it's a good message, then use it to serve, to help. So if you go back to tip number 1 of having the rim of the wheel, right? Then the rim of the wheel is your platform for your business. And that's, like I said, what we teach you in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, and that's creating your course. It's creating your program. So that's what happened here. Alon, who was on earlier, I don't know if he's still with us, but Alon, who was watching me earlier, he bought my book, he signed up for everything, he loved what I was doing, and he enrolled in my program. That's how you really serve. Now I'm really serving him because he's in the program. And now he's going to create his spiritual business, and he's going to be able to change lives too, all over the world. He's in Colombia even. So I was able to reach someone internationally with my book. And yes, it was an international bestseller, but it wasn't an international bestseller in Colombia. But I was able to reach someone on the other side of the world because I wrote a book and I put in a way for him to connect back. So that's what you guys need to be doing to be able to monetize your book. So to summarize, and for those of you who are just joining us, so the first tip of all of this is that you need to have a platform for your book. I talk about the analogy of a wheel, of a triathlon wheel. If you ever see a triathlon bike, the front wheel of a triathlon bike is solid for the really fast, good bikes. And it's solid because that's how they gain momentum. That's how they get speed, is to have this solid wheel. And so your business, your platform for your business is the external part of the wheel. It's the rim. And then as you put in each spoke, which is each piece of your business, as you have more spokes, you get more momentum on the wheel. And only one of the spokes is your book. It's not, so if you only have a book and you don't have a business, then you just have a spoke on a rim, which is why you're not making any money, and you can't even roll the damn thing because you don't have the rim in place. So the rim is the platform for your business. So that was tip number 1. And then tip number 2 is making sure that you have a message for humanity, because that's how you're going to serve with your book. Your book is to serve. Your book isn't for you. And again, if you want to write one that's just for you, cool, awesome, but you probably won't really monetize it. And even if it's fiction, you should still have a message for humanity. And then tip number 3 is that if you didn't have that in place and you've already published your book, No problem, because you can actually put all of this in place and then relaunch your book. So you can do a full relaunch and republish. We have people that are taking their books that they had before, they're republishing with Spiritual Biz Publishing, which is the new publishing company that we have that has just launched. And then they're relaunching their books once they have their platform in place so that they can actually monetize their books. And then tip number 4 was to see your book as an irresistible offer. Because when you guys buy my book, the Are You Spiritual Entrepreneur, it's on Amazon, but when you buy it, you can see that there's a way for you to sign up and get free stuff and more training, because I'm serving more than just having them buy a book. They're getting more information. So that takes us to, let me see if there's any questions or anything over here. Anything? Summer Genius. Yes, you're. Hi, Summer. There you go. All right. So, hey, Kimberly and Julie, how are you guys? So, okay. So then we're going to go into, let's talk real quick before I go into the next tip, which is actually tip number 6, which is going to be the last one. But let me talk to you really quick about Spiritual Biz Publishing. So I was mentioning earlier, concept of all the publishers out there, self-publishers, traditional publishers, Hay House publishers, whatever you want to look at, that they don't teach you how to actually monetize your book. And to me, that's the biggest crime in publishing. And so I have now created Spiritual Biz Publishing. And Spiritual Biz Publishing, I actually won't allow anyone to publish with us unless they have a platform so that they can monetize their book. If I don't believe you can monetize your book, even if you have the most amazing message for humanity, I won't publish your book. And I won't do it because it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you to pay us money to help you publish a book if you don't have a way to monetize that. So Spiritual Biz Publishing is I'm going to just say it, is the next leader in publishing of spiritually enlightening books, books that have messages for humanity, that are going to change the world, but that are also going to allow the authors to become abundant with the abundance that is their birthright, that they were born with, that God and source is intended for us. Because I'm tired of watching spiritual entrepreneurs struggle. It's absolutely unnecessary. So what Spiritual Biz Publishing will do, and we'll be taking manuscripts soon, and there's going to be a way for you guys to talk to my team. I'll let you guys know in a second after we do tip number 6. The Spiritual Biz Publishing is going to be the next leader in that, and we will take channeled books. I know a lot of Hay House in particular will not publish channeled books, and so we will, because we know that's where you guys are all getting it from. Most of my clients channel, that's their books, and so those are the clients who we will be publishing. So just so you guys know, there's a new opportunity there. We will be taking manuscripts shortly, but this training is like the opening up of Spiritual Biz Publishing. Okay, tip number 6, so let me see what I have here. Okay, tip number 6, oh no, wait, I skipped 5, sorry guys. So tip number 5 is that, and this is all you guys who have a book right now can go do this right now, go get the domain name for the title of your book. So mine is Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? I have areyouaspiritualentrepreneur.com. Go do that. Make sure you have the domain name for your book. If you can't get the full name because someone has it, maybe you put your initials at the end, something, but have a domain name that is as close to your book title as possible. Go do that, because that's going to be part of your marketing strategy. And if you work with us through Spiritual Biz Publishing, I'm going to make sure you have it done already. So get your domain name for your book, because you're going to use that for promoting and all sorts of other stuff. So making sure that you have that. So that's tip number 5. And then tip number 6, I'm making sure I got my notes here. All right. And so tip number 6 is to make sure you have a launch team, that you have strategic partners when you go to launch your book. Something I think that gets missed is we get excited, we have our book, and we're like, yay, my book's out, but we haven't actually created a plan. So that's actually something else Spiritual Biz Publishing will do, is we have a whole strategy about how to do that, which is how I was able to make it as an international bestseller. Yes, I have my following, but my team, my clients actually, were the ones that helped promote it. because, and so this is actually the beauty of working with, if you have, like for the Spiritual Biz Bootcamp clients that we have and they go to publish a book, is that they have been around a set of colleagues that are all doing the same thing, that are all building their following, that are all building their tribe, so that when they go to publish a book, they just turn to their colleagues that they've met in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, and that's their launch team. So that's another beautiful thing, because where our goal is also going to be able to get you guys best-selling status as well through Spiritual Biz Publishing, because your books are amazing. Your books have incredible messages. We will make sure of that. And so you want to make sure that you know that you're hitting that bestseller status too. Plus, that'll help give you credibility in the world as you're working with your clients to be an international bestseller or just a regular bestseller. That gives you authority with your clients, and they now see you as an expert. So the strategic partner thing, that's huge. That's a huge thing. And like I said, that's one of the big perks of being in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, is that you now have the other people who are doing the same thing who support you on your path. It's an amazing community when we do that. So excellent. So those were my 5 tips. I'll review them one more time and I'll see if you guys have any questions. So tip number 1 is that you need to have your platform in place, your platform being having a business, because you can't monetize a book if you don't have a business in place. You just can't. It's not possible. So you need to have a business in place. That's exactly what you teach you in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. Tip number 2 is making sure that you have a tip for humanity in your book and in your business. I mean, that's what we teach you in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp too, is we make sure you are dialed in on how you're healing humanity. But that has to flow into your book so that you're truly serving. Tip number 3 is that if you published your book already and you haven't done those things, that's okay. You can do a republish and a relaunch, so don't sweat it. You can still fix that and still have a best-selling book, even if you've pushed it out there before. Tip number 4 is to think of your book as an irresistible offer and a way to do an energy exchange with your clients. They buy your book and you give them way more than they were expecting in the book. So you're going to use your book as an irresistible offer. So like I said, when you guys buy my book, the Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? It's on Amazon. You go in, there's ways for you to sign up and get 6 extra training videos where I'm showing you how to build your business and other things. And so it's all in here. So I'm giving more than they expected when they bought the book. And then tip number 5 is making sure that you get the domain name for your book. So I have my domain is areyouspiritualentrepreneur.com. You're going to use it for your marketing. Make sure you have that, because that's incredibly important. And then tip number 6 is making sure you have strategic partners. Again, that's one of the big perks of being in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, is you have a bunch of colleagues who have built their businesses, who are building their tribes, and they will support you in your launch. And that's how you get to that bestseller status, is you have a launch team with the right colleagues who have the right audience for you. So you're not asking your best friend to share it with her people, because her friends are not your audience. You have to make sure that you're working in the audience that you can serve, because if your mom's best friend buys your book, well, that's great because you got a book sale, but it's not really probably helping her too much, maybe a little bit. But then, is she signing up for the free stuff and then turning into a client? Probably not. And so the idea of your book is to use it as a spoke in the wheel of your platform so that you can get clients from your book. That's how you monetize your book, is you get clients from your book. So tying all that together, those are the 6 tips for being able to monetize your book. There's like a whole lot more detail behind it, but that's a high level overview. And I did mention that we have launched Spiritual Biz Publishing. So Spiritual Biz Publishing, we are just about ready to open up for actual manuscripts. What I'm doing here is I'm giving you guys in the group an opportunity to speak with my team. So my team will have a conversation with you. We'll see if we're a vibrational match. We'll see where your business is, where your book is. Are you ready to be published, or are you really more, do you need to have that platform in place? Where's your business? They'll take a look at that with you and then give you a strategy. See if we can help you, see if we're a vibrational match. But this is not for everybody. So this is only for you if you are serious about being a spiritual entrepreneur, because that's what this is about. If you're not only serious about being a spiritual entrepreneur, but serious about changing the world with your message. You have a message for humanity, and you know that you have to get it out there, and you have to get it out there by building a business. you know that, or you've already started that process. This is also for you if you know that you have to invest in yourself. Guys, sometimes free is too expensive. How many of you guys have you done stuff free and then it just kind of falls apart, blows up in your face? Could be the same thing if you tried to self-publish your book all by yourself without investing too much. You probably sold like a dozen copies, right? So knowing that you have to invest in yourself for success. It's the energy exchange. Nothing comes for free. We all know that. So knowing that you are serious about being a spiritual entrepreneur, you are one already, that you have a message that's going to change the world, that you know you have to invest in yourself so that you can be successful. And lastly, that you are decisive. Because when you're indecisive in life, basically being indecisive is the decision to fail. And it's really hard for me to help people be super successful when they're indecisive. It's like they're shooting themselves in the foot all the time. So I'm kind of anti-indecisive people, because you're just missing your connection with source. If you're indecisive, you're just completely telling source, I don't listen to my intuition, I gotta go think this, and you get involved in your human, and all these worries and doubts come up, and you're never gonna move anywhere. So you have to be decisive. So again, this opportunity to talk to my team, to see if you're a fit, to talk about your book, to see where your business is, where your platform is. Are we a vibrational match? Are you ready to just have your book published because you've got a full platform, or are you not? Do you need that platform to make it happen? And we'll talk to you about that in Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. So this opportunity for you, again, is only if you are serious about being a spiritual entrepreneur. You have a message that changes the world. You know that you have to invest in yourself to have success, and that you are a decisive individual. And if you are all of those things, you can book a call with my team. The link is kimberlymaska.com/apply. At that moment, you're going to get a calendar. You can book a call, and right after the calendar, you're going to get a application that you need to fill out. We want to hear about your book and what's going on and where your business is. So you fill out that application, and then you send it on in, and my team will give you a call. And so there's the opportunity. So again, that's kimberlymaska.com/apply, and see if we are a vibrational match. And if you are ready to publish your book, then let us know. Let us know, and we'll see where you are and see if you're in a place. Because again, the greatest crime in publishing is that they allow you to publish a book and they don't show you how to monetize it. And Spiritual Biz Publishing is changing that completely, because that's not how it should be, and that's not how you really serve. So if you're ready to publish your book, you can pick up mine. It's on Amazon, Are You a Spiritual Entrepreneur? It has all the little free gifts in there. There's 6 free videos that you can sign up for. And you can kind of get a peek at what I'm doing, because that's what I'm teaching you guys in Spiritual Biz Publishing and being able to create your book and Spiritual Biz Bootcamp. So, all right, guys, there it is, kimberlymaska.com/apply, so that you can speak with my team. And let me see if there's any other questions before I hop off. Thank you, Kimberly, for the congrats on the book. And then, yes, told me I was the new Hay House. Yes, and that's actually my intention. Hi, Gina. Excellent. I'm glad you got some information. All right. Hey, Tim, how you doing? All right, guys. And Shannon, how you guys doing? All right, guys. So there you are. That's the overview of how to monetize your book. And again, if you're ready to do that, you can go to kimberlymaska.com/apply, book a call with my team, fill out the application so we can get to know all about you, and we'll see if we're a vibrational match. All right, guys, have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon.